Here I will cover enemy characters who don't have a member who is encountered randomly in battle. I will not cover enemy families that contain a boss or a mini-boss again. A magician is anyone who practices magic, despite it recently being used to describe illusionists. Outside of that, this is a totally made-up name, but the actions of Star Magician do loosely reference several concepts in early magics, whether intentionally or not. This boss can summon different balls to aid him in battle. This is similar both to the evocation or summoning of familiar spirits, and the alchemic principles of creating magical talismans, like the Philosopher's Stone, and life forms to aid an alchemist. There also was something called a witch ball. However, real witch balls were used as a way of repelling magicians and demons, not as a form of magical backup by magicians. Dullahan is the headless horseman said to terrorize Western Europe and New England. He rides a black horse with fiery breath and carries his severed head as he rides looking for a life to take, sometimes just by calling out your name while standing at your door, or by decapitating you and collecting your head as a trophy. German stories describe a much more benevolent creature, however, who comes to warn on the eve of impending disaster. This is a mutant plant. The concept for such malicious plants likely stems from overgrown woods full of vines and brambles that can seem to wrap around you. This is a mechanical creation based on the stories about the Doom Dragon. In addition, there's a powered-up version called the Din Dragon Plus. This is an instance of original creation to flesh out Weyard as its own world with unique mythology. However, sand or desert princes did exist in Arabia, and such cultures are often referenced in fiction. Kusung and Ku-Embra in Japan, Kutan and Kuen are Chinese, Kaocho generals. Kaocho is very clearly China, and allegedly their Japanese names are what Japan renamed several real Chinese historical figures. I checked and this seems to check out, but I don't know Chinese history at all, and you don't want me trying to say a bunch of Chinese words, so I'm ending it there. Similar to the Sand Prince, the Ice Queen is mostly an original creation, but either coincidentally or intentionally has several references to the Snow Queen. This story talks about a demon creating a magic mirror that causes people to perceive the flaws in everything they see, and pick perfectly fine things apart, like a pessimist, while seeing bad things as good. He decided to take it to heaven, to mock God and his angels, but dropped it and it shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. The Ice Queen has a line of dialogue where she threatens to shatter the party into 1,000,000 pieces. These shards flew about like snowflakes and would occasionally get inside of people and affect them as the mirror had, making them cold and critical about every good thing. The antagonist, the Snow Queen, has some connection to these shards, perhaps being composed of them. Regardless, she was ice cold and beautiful, capable of luring away people she desired to have, such as a boy, after he was afflicted by several shards. His neighbor, who loved him, then embarks on a quest to rescue him and reclaim and unfreeze his heart. Similarly, the Ice Queen was a cold, beautiful sorceress, able to lure many men to have and milk for her own benefits, as she bewitches a monk to take her and grant her freedom after she's imprisoned in a crystal gem. A gem which could also shatter like a mirror. They even both wear a white fur cloak. I'm kind of afraid there's something to the Sand Prince now. This was a strange crocodile or newt-like creature capable of causing nightmares that lived in the swamp, hence the name Sludge. This is a more accurate representation of the rock than the minor enemy rock. This bird is massive and tough. These are two Tubarang generals. Their names reference playing cards, Spade and Heart in Japan, and Blados and Chalice in America after two suits of the Altered Tarot deck, used in divining and witchcraft. Originally cups and swords, but changed to Chalice and Blados to sound more mystical when not being used to play cards. This looks like a werewolf monster as opposed to a wolf person, and in fact, it is a wolf man corrupted by dark synergy. As such, it doesn't necessarily reference anything else. This is the Chaos Hound bolstered by the dark synergy of Blados and Chalice. It resembles a four-armed lupine demon with some of Blados and Chalice's designs added, such as Chalice's horned headdress, and color in Blados' sword and greaves. These are multicolored brawny goblins or troll-like monsters that grew in size with each member. Ogres are a unique creature in that their most consistent trait is they eat humans and are giants. They are often very similar to trolls, and their name derives from the same origin as orcs. Golden Sun drew primarily from the giant troll-like take, only they are titans or champions of great strength among all ogres. Some have pointed out this has a resemblance to Baphomet, an old winged goat-looking demon usually depicted with the occult symbol of the inverted pentagram, serving as a similar occult mockery as the inverted cross, since the upper point of the pentagram represents good or spirituality ruling over the elements. Inverting it represents rejection of good and depicts it as inferior to all else. The ancient devil instead has a third horn. This is similar to the description of the goat from the Book of Daniel, who had a horn on his forehead and flew over the surface of the earth, devouring the ram. Despite the goat being symbolic of Greece and the major nations that are later built upon the foundations of Greece, and the ram symbolizing Media and Persia that Greece would dominate. And remember, share everywhere if you care.